Story time on how my password got leaked onto Roblox. This one day, I was on Roblox. I was maybe around the age 7, 8. I was in those really catchy games called like Escape McDonald's or Escape whoever, you know? I was in all those like games. I'd always join a server with 3 noobs. Not noobs as in bacon hair. Noobs as in yellow, green, blue skin. I didn't think much about it until this one day. I was in one of those catchy games. As I was in it, I made it to this one part of the stage where I saw 3 of the noobs like huddled together, like together in a circle. I was kind of confused, like what's happening, so I was just walking around and like investigating or something. I saw them chatting things. I was like really, really nervous. You will not believe what they chatted. Like for part 2. And thank you so much for the support. Part 2 on how my password got leaked onto Roblox. As I was investigating the noobs, I noticed they were typing something that I didn't feel comfortable about. They kept on typing my password. Not as in typing like they say it once and then they move on. They typed it like 5 or 6, maybe even more times. As they were typing it, people in the chat were going question mark, question mark. They were on a different level, so I couldn't really see them saying it, but I saw it in the chat. So I kind of felt uncomfortable. I just thought maybe they were talking about something else. It doesn't have to be my password. So I just kept on finishing the obby. Then I made it to this other point, maybe like 5 stages later. I saw the 3 exact same noobs, and they were just sitting by each other like a line. I was wondering, do they have admin to this game or something? But now that I think of it, they were hackers, so of course they did. As they were sitting down, they were leaking my password again. But as they were leaking my password, it came with a little more surprise. Part 3 of how my password got leaked onto Roblox. The surprise was they were leaking my password with my email. And I used the same password for literally everything. My email, my Roblox account, everything, my phone, everything. So as they were leaking my email, I went to check was it really my email, and it really was. And if you log into my email account, on the side it has like my credit card with all my credit card info. And I didn't know how to turn it off. I was really, really scared. I was like, oh my God. So they just kept on spamming that, and then they stopped spamming. And they said, ha ha ha, we got you. I was like, ha ha ha, we got who? And what did you get? They said, we know you're scared and we know you're a little kid. At the time, I was younger. And then I noticed they were talking about me. I got really, really nervous. Like for part 4.
One day I was playing Roblox. A few minutes later I met this guy in 𝕤𝕠𝕓𝕝. We became friends. Then a little later we started dating. I gave him my number and we started texting. He wanted to FaceTime, but I had to go to my grandma's house, so I told him I would FaceTime later. Either way, I was a little nervous to FaceTime. Okay, anyway, I got to my grandma's house and I decided to bring my laptop because I still wanted to play 𝕤𝕠𝕝 with my boyfriend. I noticed that my grandma was on her phone the whole time. She literally never goes on her phone. Like when I went to say hi to her, she literally slapped me and told me to go away. Chill out, what did I do? Anyway, I went to join 𝕤𝕠𝕝 and I saw that my boyfriend was online. I joined and gave him a free giraffe. A second later my grandma jumps 5 feet in the air and she screamed yippee yappy wappy hoo ha hey, and she fell on her back. That was the moment I realized I was dating my own grandma. She got rushed to the hospital. A day later my mom told me she died. We went to her funeral. It was going normal until all of a sudden I hear the 𝕤𝕠𝕝 music coming from her funeral casket.
This is why I never trust anybody off of Roblox. A few years ago on Roblox, when I started playing Roblox, I would join a bunch of games and friend everybody in the game. I would even join different servers to friend more people. But this one time, I joined a server and I was very interested in the game, so I didn't friend anybody in that one. But I got a friend request from a girl named Ladybug134. Her name sounded very cool at the time, in my opinion, and I accepted it. Then I left the game to start chatting with her. She started chatting with me about saying, can I make a group chat with you and my friend on Roblox? I said, sure, why not? Because I meant more friends. Then in the group chat, I was saying hi, hello, and stuff like that, and the weird little XDs, emojis, and stuff like that. I was getting kind of confused because nobody else was talking in the chat. You will not believe what they chatted. Like for part 2. Part 2, sorry for the long wait. When I opened up the group chat, I got really nervous because it said, I know where you are. I started getting scared because it was 2 people knowing where I live. So I unfriended both of them and blocked them. I joined the same game and got another friend request from somebody. This time, the name was LadyMan256 because in the beginning it was Ladybug. So, I don't know. I accepted it because at the time, like I said, I thought having a lot of friends was cool. They chatted me linking my email. I got really nervous. When I clicked the email, it had pictures of me. I kept on getting spam accounts from my phone messages, and it kept on saying, "Why did you do that? Why did you do that?" And I'm guessing it's because I blocked them. Like for part 3. Part 3 up right now. By the way, thank you for all the support. The next day, I got a call from an anonymous number. I was confused, but I still answered it. At the time, I was younger, so I didn't really notice. When I answered, it was like a robot keep on repeating, "Why did you do that? Why did you do that?" I got really scared and I hung up. I screenshotted the number just in case I would need it as evidence or proof, because at the time, I thought I was doing something very smart. I kept on getting the same calls that kept on saying, "Why did you do that? Why did you do that?" I know I did something really bad, to the point where I got so scared I had to tell my parents. I told my mom, and she didn't really believe me at first. And then I showed her the picture of the proof of the photo that had the number of the anonymous number. Then she called it. You will not believe what the anonymous number said to her. Like for part 4. Part 4. Thank you for waiting. When my mom got the number, it took a little bit for the number to answer. But then it finally answered. And the number said, "I know who you are. We've been together for a long time." I'm not sure if they meant together in a relationship or as friends, but I'm going to say as friends. I got very confused because I didn't know who it was, and I would have understood their voice if I knew them. But maybe they had some high-tech technology that changed their voice. But then the number hung up immediately and started texting my mom. It kept on saying, "I'm done with your daughter, but now I'm not done with you." I got really scared for my mom because I kind of got her into something. I didn't want to get her into anything because this would all be my fault. Like for part 5. And by the way, thank you for all this support. Part 5, the last part. After the anonymous number was texting my mom, "I'm done with your daughter, but I'm not done with you," she kept on getting fake emails from stores that she liked. For example, Walmart, Old Navy, or even Fashion Nova. She clicked on the Old Navy one. Then it said put in your email and your password, and she put it in because it said if you do it, you get a free discount. Then when it was done, there was a badge on the side that had a smiley face. Then her phone immediately turned off. When she got back in her phone, my friend was calling her. It was weird because my friend was calling her, not calling me. And she asked my mom if I can come over. Then my mom told me, and I obviously said yes because we were friends. When I went over her house, we wanted to play Roblox together. When she was on there, she joined my game, but not on her real account. She joined the game as Ladybug234. And that's why I don't trust anybody off of Roblox.
This is why I don't online date. When this happened, I was probably 9 at the time, and I met a guy on Roblox. He was pretty nice, and I liked playing with him, so I friended him, and we played together every once in a while. About 2 months after we became friends, I was playing a game on Roblox, and he joined me. We said hi to each other and started playing together like we normally did. He then asked if I wanted to be his girlfriend, and I said I don't online date and I wasn't comfortable with doing it. He then said, "Do it or else." I asked him or else what. He said he would do something. I asked him again what he would do. He said he was gonna come to my house. I didn't think that he would. I thought he was just trying to scare me. I asked him how he would do that, and he said he knew my address, and I was starting to get pretty scared at this point. I immediately left the game and I unfriended him. A few days later, I was playing Roblox and I somehow saw him in my game. He walked up to me and... Part 2. He walked up to me and I told him to go away, but he said in all caps, "Be my girlfriend." I said in all caps, "No," and leave me alone. I thought he would leave me alone, so I walked away, and he just followed me and said, "Be my girlfriend or else I will come to your house." I left the game and blocked him, and I started to think he was not a child. About a month later, I had forgot about it, and nothing had happened, just the usual going to school. A few days later, a guy texted me saying, "I'm coming to your house. You have to be my girlfriend." I was terrified, so I immediately blocked the number. The next day, we got a knock on the door, and I forgot about the message, and my mom answered the door. It was probably a 50-year-old man, and my mom asked what he needed. He said that he wanted to see me, and my mom asked if I knew him, and I said no. He then yelled at me saying, "You must be my girlfriend." I yelled no, and he went to grab me. I screamed as loud as I could and ran back into the house. My mom yelled at him, and Part 3. And my mom called the police on him. He didn't do anything and stood there being weird, saying over and over, "You must be my girlfriend, I am lonely." The police arrived and asked the man what the problem is. My mom yelled that the man tried to grab me because I didn't want to be his girlfriend. The police took him, and we haven't heard about him ever since.
So when I was little, my mom took me and my brother to the local pool. I was 12, he was 4. So while my mom and I sunbathed, he played in the kiddie pool. When all of a sudden he comes up to us and says, "Mommy, I gotta go pee-pee." And instead of taking him to the bathroom, my mom said, "Go pee-pee in the pool." Shame on you, Carolyn. We continued to lay out in the sun until all of a sudden we hear everyone scream, "Oh my God, some kid's peeing in the kiddie pool." Torian didn't understand, and he went over to the kiddie pool, pulled down his pants, and pee-peed like he was peeing in the toilet. But my mom is clever, and she pretended like she didn't know whose kid it was, and we never went back to that pool again.
This story was submitted to me by a follower who would like to remain anonymous. When I was 14, I had a best friend named Lucy, and we had one of those friendships where we were really close really quickly, which I now know is a red flag and usually a sign of a toxic friendship. But I was too young to know this then. Our favorite thing to do together was hang out at the mall. Our parents would let us go alone as long as we abided to one rule. We had to stay together at all times, and we were always pretty good about that. One night we were having a sleepover at Lucy's house, and her Uncle Mike came over for dinner. Uncle Mike was pretty loud and goofy. He showed us like 8 magic tricks that night. I liked him. He was fun. But as I was helping clear dishes after dinner, I overheard Mike and Lucy's mom having a hushed conversation in the kitchen. She was like, "You've had too much to drink, why don't you just spend the night?" So Mike ended up sleeping over that night too. Right before going to sleep, Lucy's mom came into the bedroom, and she told us to remember to shut the bedroom door before falling asleep. When I asked Lucy why she said that, Lucy just shrugged and said, "I don't know." But we made sure the bedroom door was shut just like she asked. In the middle of the night, I woke up to the feeling of someone tickling my feet. So I was having a sleepover at Lucy's house, and I woke up in the middle of the night to someone or something tickling my feet. I scream, and then I hear shuffling. Lucy wakes up and she's like, "What's wrong?" And I tell her that something was tickling my feet, but she doesn't believe me. I'm like, "Well, why is the door open? We shut it before we went to sleep." And she goes, "Relax. Sometimes it happens because there's a draft in the house." And I tell her that I think it was her uncle who was tickling my feet, and she goes, "Oh, come on, you're hallucinating." And honestly, at the time, I had a bad feeling about Lucy's reaction. It felt like she was gaslighting me, and I had no idea why. A few weekends later, Lucy and I are chilling at the mall on a Saturday afternoon. My parents let us go to the mall together alone, but their one rule is that we have to stay together the whole time. They call it the buddy system. So that day, Lucy's acting weird. She keeps looking around nervously and checking her phone. She says she has to go to the bathroom, and I'm like, "Okay, I'll go with you," because we always go together even if the other person didn't have to pee. And Lucy's like, "No, I'll go alone. I'll be quick." And I'm like, "No, I'll just go with you." And she snaps really aggressively, and she's like, "Just stay here." And then she spins around and sprints away from me. So Lucy's running away from me in the mall. I sprint after her. She's super fast. She rounds a corner, and then I can't find her after that. I start crying. I have no idea why my best friend ran away from me. So I sit down on a bench in the mall. I'm still crying, really overwhelmed. Then I hear someone say my name. So I look up, and it's Lucy's uncle, Uncle Mike. He asks what's wrong, and I tell him. He's being super nice and comforting. And then he starts rubbing my back, which made me uncomfortable, but I don't say anything. Then he offers to give me a ride home. And I say, "No, I can just call my parents." And he goes, "Just let me give you a ride, come on." But the way he said it the second time gave me goosebumps. It was aggressive. Like he wasn't asking me, he was telling me. So I stand up and step away from him and say, "You're making me uncomfortable, I'm calling my parents." Mike glares at me, and then he says, "No one likes a tease," and he walks away. I told my parents what happened, and they immediately called Lucy's parents. Apparently, Uncle Mike had taken a liking to me, and he found out that I was going to be at the mall that day with Lucy, and Mike paid her $100 to run away and leave me alone with him. He told Lucy that I liked him too, and that she was being a good friend by giving us alone time. I never spoke to Lucy again after that.
This is the reason why everybody thought I dropped out of high school. Over the 4 years of high school, I was probably in school a total of 100 times altogether. And this wasn't because I was lazy. I mean, partially. But it was mostly because I have really bad stomach problems. So I always had these doctor's appointments. I was always missing school because my stomach hurt. So then my junior year, since my attendance was really, really bad, they decided to put me on home instruction. This means that teachers will come to my house for about 2 hours a day, 3 days a week. And my teachers had to bring with them these time slips. For example, saying that they saw me from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And when I was a minor, my dad had to sign it. And when they hand in those time slips, those are the hours they're getting paid for. So I had this one teacher. She was my history teacher, but we would literally just gossip the entire time. She was mad chill. Sometimes, though, she would cancel on me, and sometimes I would cancel on her. But this was my senior year, so I was 18. So I was able to sign the time slips. So I saw her once a month when I was supposed to see her 4 times a month. So every time she came, I signed 4 time slips. I got the credit, she got the check.
This is my tattoo horror story. So this was for my 19th birthday, I believe. I really wanted like a tiny little crown tattoo on the back of my neck. I saw it on Pinterest and I was like, I need this tattoo. I need it right now. So I messaged my normal tattoo guy and he was already booked for like the next few days, and like I said, I wanted it right then and there, which was a very big mistake looking back at it. And it was a Sunday, so not many tattoo shops were even open in the first place, except for one. I wish I could just out this place. It is literally the most horrible place run by the most horrible people. But anyway, I go in. He told me that he could do it, but it has to be bigger because he can't do something that small. Which I've seen tattoo artists do tiny little tattoos, so that was the first red flag. But I was being impulsive and stubborn and I really wanted that tattoo right then and there, so I said okay. He put the stencil on me and it looked small, it looked good. After having him tattoo my neck for over an hour and a half, I started to get worried. Part 2 of my tattoo horror story. So I was in the tattoo shop for about 2.5 hours. This wasn't because he was tattooing me for 2 hours, but because he kept on taking short breaks. He kept on telling me that he had to take a smoke break. And I was like, okay, that's fine, do what you gotta do. It was only him and another guy working there, nobody else. And every time he would take a smoke break, him and his coworker would go outside. During like the 3rd smoke break that they had, I had to pee, so I went to the bathroom. And when you're coming out of the bathroom, you're able to see outside, like through the window. So I noticed that the guy that was giving me my tattoo had a pill bottle in his hand. I kind of figured it was like Tylenol or something. But he was pouring it into his coworker's hand and he looked mad sus. So I go back and I wait in the room, sitting in the chair. Mind you, my friend was with me. And they took another 10-15 minutes to come back. And the way that I was sitting, my head was kind of like leaning down. So every time he would come back, the door was behind me, so I didn't really have to look at his face. And keep in mind that this was the longest break that he took the whole time. So after we left, my friend told me that that time that he came back, he had white powder all in his nose and he was trying to wipe it off. And my tattoo got infected.
So this couple comes in together to buy an engagement ring, and they had a budget of about $20,000, which is a lot for an engagement ring. But the ring that she happened to pick out was about $35,000, which is a lot of money. And she was really adamant about picking it, and he was kind of reserved, like, you know, it is a lot of money. But she's like, no, if you love me, you'll buy it, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, you know what? You're gonna be my wife, the mother of my kids, whatever makes you happy. So after they finally decide, I pack it up for them. I'm like, here you go. Have a great marriage. Have a great life. Goodbye. About 3 weeks later, the fiance comes in, and I'm thinking she just wants to get the ring size or something. And she's like, can you guys take out the diamond and replace it with a cubic zirconium? Cubic zirconium is a very cheap substitute for a diamond. So I was like, yeah, we can do that, but just give us 2 or 3 days. So she leaves, and I call her fiance because I was like, oh, this is really suspicious. And he had no idea that she came into the shop or that she was coming in. So he calls me 2 days later, and he finds out that she was going to break up with him. She would have kept that diamond, and she would have given him the fake one. He would have returned it, and he would have gotten no money back.